Today we will be looking at the partial quotients division algorithm, or as I would like to say, it's just one of the options that you can use to solve a long division problem. Our objective for today is you will be introduced to the partial quotients division algorithm and solve some division problems using this method. Before we begin our lesson in more detail, I want you to get out your math composition notebook, and in the back of it I would like you to write down two new vocabulary words. The first one is dividend, and it's the number in a division problem that is being divided. So if we look at this, we have 35, and remember this is the division side, so 35 divided by 5 equals 7. The dividend is 35 because 35 is what we are dividing into. The second vocabulary word is called the divisor. In a division problem, the number that divides another number is the divisor. So for example, 35 divided by 5 equals 7. The divisor in this is 5. So you can pause the video and write these down in the back of your vocabulary book. And when you are ready, you can click to continue. So I want you to sit back and watch this partial quotients division algorithm on YouTube, and then we'll be back in a couple minutes to do some problems together.
This is the partial quotients division algorithm. Basically, the idea of partial quotients is instead of trying to divide directly into the number as many times as possible, to basically chip away bit by bit at the dividend using the divisor. So the first thing we do is draw a line down the side. This is going to separate my remainders from my actual quotient. So my first thought is, how many 12s go into 195? And again, I'm trying to keep this simple. So I always want to use things like 10s and 100s, numbers that end in 0 that I can multiply easier in my head. So I think right away, how much is 10 20s? And that's 120, which will go into 195. So I put my 10 on the outside, and I do 10 times 20. It's 120 on the inside. And I subtract like I would in normal division. Now, I look at 12 and I think about how many times it can go into 75. Now, depending on whether or not I know my 12 times tables, I may know directly it's going to go, 6 times, or I may not. So even if I know I may not, let's say I miscalculate and I say, it goes 5 times, and that's 60. The good thing about the partial quotients method is I can still get the correct answer, even though I had a minor problem. So now I say 12 into 15. Now I can go one more time for my 12, subtract, I get my remainder in here. On the outside, now that I know that 12 won't go into 3, I'm going to stop. What I'm going to do is add up my quotients on the outside, and I'm always careful to line up my columns, 1s and 10s. So then I have a final answer of 16, remainder 3.
Okay, let's see if I can get back to our other thing. And we're going to go back one more time. Hang on for a minute. You're being very patient. Aha, here it is. So you had a little introduction to that. And now what we're going to do is we are going to do some problems together. So let's go on. So the first one is 231 divided by 10. And I already wrote it down, and here's my line on the side. And if you're not that great with your division or your multiplication facts, this is a really slick method then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to put it in there 10 times. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. And then what I do, so I divide and now I multiply. 10 times 10 is 100. And I write that down here. So you divide, multiply, and subtract. Whoopsie. So I put that here. I have a 1 and a 3 and a 1. And now it's kind of a new division problem. It's 131 divided by 10. Well, I know it can go in another 10 times because 10 times 10 is 100. So I'm going to write that down again. So we divided, and it's 10 times, and then we multiply. 10 times 10 is 100. And then we subtract, and we get 31. Oops, I'm having a hard time here. Whoops. Now, I divide again. 10 goes into 31 3 times. And 10 times 3 is 30. And then I subtract. 31, take away, oh dear. I'm having a heck of a time, you guys. Take away 30 is 1. 10 can't go into 1. So I add my numbers up over here. And notice how I have them lined up. So they're easy to add. So this is 3. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer is 23. Remainder 1. And you'll either see it written like this, or you can see the R written out for remainder, but most of the time you're just going to see it as an R. Let's try one more. 3 goes into 45, or 45 divided by 3. Well, I'm going to start, and I'm going to say 10 times. So I've divided, now I multiply, and what I usually do is I put it over here, divide, multiply, and subtract. So I divided, now I'm multiplying, 10 times 3 is 30. Let's see if I can get this time without it getting silly on me. And now I subtract, 5 take away 0 is 5. And 4 take away 3 is 1. Now I have a new division problem. 15 divided by 3. Well, 3 times 5, I know that that's 15. So I divided, and now I'm multiplying these two, and I have 15. And now I'm going to subtract, and I don't have anything left over, so I add over here, and my answer is 15. And it's 15 with no remainder, so you can just leave it like this, 15. Okay? Not too bad. Now it's quiz time, and I want you to go through this, and I want you to try to figure this out. And if you can't, you just stop, and you can just write some questions down that you have. But here are the first two problems, and you'll be doing it right online. And then the next page, here are the second set of problems, which is problem number 3 and 4. And then after you're done doing the quiz, you're going to use your notebook to write down any questions that you have, and we will answer them tomorrow. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.